All right, another week in New York Mets baseball has concluded, which means it's time for another episode of Mets Weekly, episode number 53. Welcome to the Mets Weekly Roundtable. This is Frank Cugino from Frank About Sports.
What's going on, guys? Andrew Acevedo back.
What's going on, everyone? Mets Talk with Hayden is the name.
What is going on, everybody? This is Metsfan from YouTube.
Hey, what's up, guys? I'm TonyMetro.
Big Apple Banter Media here with Elias. That's weekly.
Mets Weekly.
Mets Weekly.
Mets Weekly.
Mets Weekly.
Welcome to Mets Weekly.
All right, we're going to let the panel go around and introduce themselves. First up, we have Andrew Acevedo, a.k.a. Rhino, and a special Rhino today with the attire.
What's going on, guys? We're going to actually upload a video, I think, this weekend talking about a potential sneaky free agent the Mets need to hop on as he's doing some throwing sessions for scouts in the next couple weeks. Just warning everybody now, in about half hour, the Leafs game is going to start, and I'm going to be watching that. So if you get an overreaction, just watching the Leafs game. It's okay.
It's not the Penguins. What do you care about the Leafs for?
Well, because if the Leafs win a first-round series and the Pens blow a 3-1 lead, I'll have a crutch to at least watch and enjoy the rest of the game.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta have backup plans.
Nobody cares about hockey.
Okay, and moving right along, since we don't care about hockey, we have TonyMetro with his Mr. Met in the background.
Hey, guys. TonyMetro, you know the spiel. Same old, same old. Slagging on YouTube. I know I need to get back, but I got an interesting Twitter account, so you could always follow that as well and watch me overreact positively or negatively to our New York Mets.
And last but not least, we have Metsfan from YouTube.
I'm Carson, a Mets fan, or Tub, whatever you want to call me. I barely make videos, so today I'm just going to talk about climate change. So basically what you're seeing out there in nation's climate.
As he mutes his microphone, but okay.
All right. Back to you,
Move on.
Frank.
All right. So I guess we'll just move on now.
So that's how I see it. It's a very sticky situation. Let's go Mets.
Polar bears are screwed. Let's move on.
Yeah, I know it's going to be tough for polar bears, squirrels, and the whole gang to stay around. But what are our takeaways from our polar bears, squirrels, and rally rats and all the other animals we have going on? Let's start with TonyMetro. Your takeaways from the recent New York Metropolitans play.
Yeah, I mean, hey, the train keeps on rolling. The Mets have not lost a series so far this year. They've won 9. They split 1 with the Braves. Over the weekend, took 2 out of 3 against Philly, lost 2 of those games to the rainouts. So, split that doubleheader with them on Sunday. A little bit of a missed opportunity in that Sunday game. They lost 3-2 in game 1. I thought they really could have taken that one, but just weren't hitting with runners in scoring position. That's probably the one thing that I've been a little disappointed with over the last week. That was something they were really good at the first 25 games of this season, but lately the entire lineup kind of has been slumping a little bit. Mark Canha, really great day today to come through with a clutch 2-out RBI single in the first. And then obviously they added another on his home run later in the game. So happy to see that. But overall, the starting pitching has been pretty solid outside, of course, of Tyler Mcgill's clunker yesterday. It's going to happen. He's a young guy still. I know we all want to anoint him the next Cy Young already, but he's still got a lot of growing pains to go through. So I'm not concerned about that. Hopefully he's going to bounce back next. But, hey, you get a bad start from Mcgill yesterday, and what do you get today? 7 shutout innings from Taiwan Walker. I mean, who saw that coming off his really tough start against the Phillies in his previous outing? So, things are going well. The guys are picking up. When one guy's down, the next guy's coming up, whether it's the lineup, the starting rotation, or the bullpen, which, by the way, up until Edwin Diaz surrendering the homer to Soto today, had gone, I think 12 consecutive scoreless innings. So, things are going very well. I'm very, very pleased with how this team has been trending lately.
All right. Andrew, what has been your takeaways?
Yeah, I mean, again, I think I've given Pete Alonso ungodly power since, he slayed the demon of being a dick. And look what happened. He's like absolutely raking ever since me and him have had that interaction. But obviously Pete's been big. Marte, when he's gotten his hits, have come up in big spots. has obviously some big spot. I mean, in Philadelphia, he's the main catalyst in the comeback. Well, starting the comeback and then ending the comeback. The pitching's been well. Again, everybody's had a clunker. Scherzer had a 10 game against Philadelphia. Bassett had it for the second series against the Giants. So everybody in the rotations had their clunkers, but they've bounced back. Again, the bullpen's been great. Drew Smith, Edwin Diaz, elite Seth Lugo is maybe starting to come back in more appearances. But the team's played well. Again, they keep winning series. People are bitching, about certain little nitpicks, and they can do that. But when you're winning series, it's kind of irrelevant in the grand scheme of things. If they're starting to lose, 100%. We can nitpick and, this guy, this opportunity. But when you're winning, you can nitpick, but you're just like, dude, we're winning games, we're winning series. We still haven't lost the series. Yes, should we have swept the Nationals? Could we? Should we have swept the Phillies? Could we have? Yeah. But, the Phillies are at least a good team. The Nationals, historically, always give us fits and at least steal a game. So, for me, team's playing well. Team keeps winning. I'm sitting back, relax. I know there's a collapse coming in June because we're actually playing well in May, but we know it's coming. So, let's just ride this wave of happiness before the steep dive into a pile in June.
Oh, you bite your tongue, Andrew. How dare you? This is a positive vibes only channel. We never call it how it is. We are all positive about the Mets 24/7.
Exactly.
Everybody's
I was going to say, we can keep it up with the positive theme as we go to Metsfan, who always gives us a positive outlook on it. So, one of your takeaways been, what has the computer been telling you about the Mets' recent play?
Okay, here's number one. I hate saying stuff like this because it always turns in a different direction with this team at any frickin' moment. But Jeff McNeil is back, all right? He's not overthinking. He's established that he is done trying to slug the ball. He's going bat to ball. He's being the nuisance that he was in 2019, 2018. And I'm loving every second of it. Continuing to prove me wrong. Continue to do it, Jeff. Most importantly, behave yourself. Remember that you just turned 30. Thank you. Number two, Mets lineup construction. Mets fans, shut up already. All I can say is that I'm so tired of the why is Giorme here? Why is Jankowski here? First off, these guys have been well serviceable bench bats so far this year and for their entire careers. So some of them, and they're probably some of the best in the game. The thing is that there's also the second point where the team is winning. Who cares? That's the second part. And third, the most important part, we used 64 players last year. 64. Would y'all like to tell me the amount of significant injuries our position players have had this year? Oh, wait. 0. Exactly. Point proven. There you go. Number 3. We all talk about my soft spot for Michael Conforto and how everybody else wants him to die of explosive diarrhea. He's not clutch. He's stubborn. He's too streaky. None of that is true, but besides the point. Given the statement of streakiness, the crown has to go to Eduardo Escobar. I am not even talking about the 0 for 20 stretch that he just had. I'm talking about batted ball results. All season, you see 5 straight fly balls, 4 straight ground balls, 7 straight line drives, 3 straight strikeouts, another 8 fly balls or pop-ups. Like, I don't understand this man at all. And I'll show you what I mean by this, okay? Now, batted ball peripherals, I have a recap called a sweet spot. Now, these are batted balls that are between an 8 and 32 degree launch angle. Simple translation, combination of line drives and fly balls. The average sweet spot rate is 32.9%. Escobar has a 24.7% sweet spot rate, but he also hits a line drive or a fly ball 58.1% of the time. So my point is that Javier Baez is so easy to understand. This guy is a mind fuck. He's pissing me off. That's all I got to say. But hey, he's getting on base pretty well, so whatever. But he's still pissing me off.
Yeah, I mean, I think my main takeaway is to touch on a couple other things. I'll say with the bullpen, you were talking about how many players we use. what I like is, even though we sent down Adonis Medina, you call up whoever. And then Steven Nagosic, he gives you a good outing. Okay, but you send him down, you call up somebody else. Then they give you a good outing. So I just like that we're seeing so many different guys step up. If you heard Mark Canha after the game, he said they have a little bit of a hitter's belt or, player of the game for the hitters. And he said it's somebody different every day. And the pitchers try to do the same thing. And what I like is that nobody is really just full on carrying the team. I mean, yes, you had 2 days ago, you had Pete Alonso was the hero. Today, Mark Canha was the hero. And, who knows who it may be the next game. So I do like that this is a bit of a team effort. You're seeing a lot of different guys step up. And the other thing I want to touch on is Lindor and Escobar. Obviously, their slumps, their over streaks, whatever you want to call it, it hasn't been good. But I just want to remind these same people that in the beginning of the season, in the first 2 weeks, Lindor and Escobar were at the top of the National League in F-WAR. They both had crazy numbers, OPS, WRC+, batting average. Use whatever number you want. Both of them were having amazing starts. They were going to come down to earth. Has it happened the way we wanted to? No. I mean, we did not want their come back to earth to be this harsh. But I think that both these guys will not finish where they are. I think both of them will finish better than where they are right now because I'm just seeing a ton of it. So I just think that let's just pump the brakes a tiny smidge because these guys were not going to keep up the pace they were on. I mean, anyone who expected that is absolutely crazy. So that's the things I want to touch on. Anybody else have anything else they want to add before we move on? Nope.
Yeah, well, I mean, you talk about like that wasn't going to continue. And I've talked about this so much, and we've talked about this before with the baseballs. Offense is down. That's just how it is. And that wasn't going to sustain. And that's just how it is. If they keep going at this, and to be honest, these baseballs are so inconsistent that if they keep going at this pace, and they talk about the warm weather and the balls traveling, farther in the warm weather, if these baseballs are as inconsistent as they've been so far, you could probably see everybody loves their batting title, everyone loves their batting average, batting title. This is how dangerous this is. The batting title could possibly be 290. That's how bad this is. I'm telling you, this is how bad this looks. I'm not even joking. This is worse. Like the offense dip is worse. It's worse when they raise the mound with Bob Gibson after he had that entire record-setting season. Like that's how bad this is. Like, that's how I'm telling you.
I get league-wide guys are trying to hit home runs. They're all dependent now on launch angle, and that is a big reason why these numbers are all down. And, I mean, obviously the ball has played a huge factor, the weather as well. But for me, lately, it's just the approach that I'm seeing from some unnamed shortstop on this team. And it doesn't look like Lindor is going to the plate with the same approach that he was the first 10 or 15 games of this season. I've seen him chase way more, swinging at way more pitches in the dirt, way more pitches up at the letters and above, and just expanding the zone. And for me personally, he looks like he did last year over these last 10 or 15 games. I mean, I'm just right now beginning to get very concerned about him. And obviously, if he had a great year last year, I wouldn't have this concern. But let's be honest, last year was a disaster for Lindor. And we came out of the gate strong with him this year. Last 15 games, he's looked exactly like Lindor for last year, and we are on the hook for 9 more years and $300 million. You can't tell me it's not the least bit concerning.
My counterpoint is that did you see him get off to that start, though, in a Mets uniform? The talent is there. It all comes down to consistency. It's not like, is this guy washed up? Is he cooked? Does he have it anymore? He still has it.
I know, but we saw it in spurts in 2021 as well. Yeah, I think you had a great month of August. I mean, there were many times where he did look like the guy that we thought we were getting last year, and that's how it looked for the first 10 or 12 games of this year. But the last 15 have been a meteoric decline from him, where, I mean, he's taken offers with 2 strikeouts per game. And you could cite the exit velo, and yeah, no, I know there are hard outs, there are tough breaks, but I'm just not seeing it from this guy for the last 10 games. That's just me.
I personally am just like, I'm sitting here and seeing a lot of the high prolific power hitters, the huge hitters. You're seeing a lot of them struggle. You saw them a lot of them start off. And again, You can bring up the point about the baseballs, but you're also talking about like they're going to have to adjust to it. And this is the crazy thing is that 2019 was a record-setting home run year. This is the thing about baseball, and we can go into a whole other rant about this, but they panicked. That's what they did. In 2019, they realized that the balls were juiced, and they panicked. So then they kind of just kept it under the wraps. They had the whole Astros thing and the whole everything. They had the pandemic and everything, kind of kept that under wraps. And that's where like a lot of the stuff with the players union came in. 2021, they realized that the balls were dead. It was like there was a lack of offense in 2021. What are we going to do? Let's ban the sticky stuff. Let's ban this. Let's ban that. And now they're at this crossroads where they're like, what are we doing here? So they're just, not only is it bad for baseball, but it's like you're just seeing this. I understand the pitching battles are cool, but like when you're seeing a ball get hit 110 miles an hour at a sweet spot degree launch angle and the thing's not even touching the fucking warning track, that's a problem. And there's a ton of comparisons. Like we talked about JD Davis, that 108, same exit velo, same launch angle, in the same ballpark compared to Manny Machado. That thing went 411 feet. This thing didn't even hit the warning track with JD. That's how far the gap is. And that's the thing. The next one that happens, maybe it goes out of the ballpark, maybe it doesn't. That's the thing. That's the crazy thing. And that's what Chris Bassett's talk about. They're just different baseballs. It's bad.
Cruel game.
You just don't know.
Okay, well, in fairness to Lindor, let me bring up one thing. Carson was talking about the batting title, how it may be a 290 average guy. I'm gonna list you off some players, guys who were star players last year, and tell me if they've been having a good season this year. Mookie Betts, Carlos Correa, Brian Reynolds, Ketel Marte, Cedric Mullins, Anthony Rendon, Jose Abreu, Corey Seager, Marcus Semien. Corey Seager, 300 plus million. Marcus Semien, almost 300 million. Correa, huge contract. You had a bunch of guys that were getting huge contracts this offseason. They haven't got to good starts either. There definitely is something going on, and Francisco Lindor is not the only star player, big contract player that is struggling due to these inconsistent baseballs.
It's bigger than just Lindor. That's the thing. It's bigger than that. And, but listen, these baseballs, I won't say they broke StatCast, but they've made it so like crazy. Like the inconsistencies are just there, and they've just built up, and that's just how it looks.
The 970, the 1,000 XBA balls that are being caught. I mean, that should be a cause for concern.
That never happens. That's impossible. Again, Citi Field, not a hitter's ballpark. But like when you have something that perfect coming at that angle and it doesn't even hit the frickin' wall, right into Brandon Nemo's glove, even though Brandon Nemo, elite center fielder, by the way. But like that doesn't make sense. That just does not make sense. Like it's like I don't want to go into physics or anything, but that doesn't make sense. It's like
no,
you know what I mean? It's like the ball just passes out drunk when it's like just falls. Like it just doesn't make sense. I don't get it. I wish you could get an overview of it like when they do with MLB The Show. That'd be cool. But we don't have that. We don't have that technology yet, or so the government are telling us. Excuse me. Speaking of the government, no.
Okay, Frank.
All right, I was gonna say. I mean, geez, Louise, what are we getting to? Do you have anything you want to say about the baseballs, or you just in agreement?
Just use skyballs at this point.
Racquetballs. Racquetballs work. Then you can have 600 feet dimensions. Racquetballs. Those things go distance.
Our next topic.
All right.
Robinson Cano. I mean, we did not get to touch on this yet, but the Mets had designated him for assignment. They will pay him the $40 million remaining of his contract, but now they're going to pay like $300,000 less if this deal with the Padres goes through. So how do Met fans remember his time in Queens? And I'm actually going to start off with Andrew. How should Met fans remember Robbie Cano, don't you know, his time in Queens?
Just like Jed Lowry, it just didn't happen. I mean, I think that's the best way. You just like, yep, another Wilpon move goes down the drain, move on. That's just how, legit how I've seen is like, how are Mets fans going to remember? Do you remember the Paddock 3-homer game? Like, that's legit the only thing he ever really did. I mean, I think he hit like a big homer in like the 9th inning against the Marlins one time. There's no redeeming moment. You're like, Robbie Cano is a Met. That's his signature moment. Like the Paddock game, I guess. So there really is nothing to grab on. Like that's the Met moment, like Lindor against the Yankees, or Pete's 53rd home or whatever. There's not that. So you really can't be like, well, he was a Met. It's like Roberto Alomar when he was a Met. Like it happened. Nobody really remembers what happened when he was with a Met, but he wore a Met jersey. They paid him. So that's kind of where I'm at, where it's just like it happened. Thank God it's over. But, Dom Smith is doing a great impersonation of him. But, you just kind of say, oh, it's another one that got away. Jed Lowry, Roberto Alomar, another second baseman they paid and didn't do anything.
Tony, what about you? I mean, what are your most fondest memories of Robinson Cano?
Wow, my most fond memories of Robbie Cano has to be the day that he got DFA'd. I mean, that could be the only time that I actually had a positive feeling about the guy. When the trade happened, I was pretty hyped just from the sense like, oh, the Mets made a splash, like new GM. Maybe this is going to be like the first of many, but it turned out that was the big addition to the lineup for that year. This was prior to even knowing that Pete Alonso was going to start his major league career at that time. He came up with the team up north out of spring training in 2019. So we didn't even know if we thought that Cano might be like this cleanup guy for us, obviously us being naive Mets fans, but obviously just a guy that was well past his prime, a guy that had already been suspended for PEDs in the prior season, and then of course got busted again. And all throughout his 2.5 or 3 years with the Mets, would go on the injured list, come back, not perform, not hustle, not play good defense, not do anything well, remotely well. And honestly, I was just thrilled that the Mets made the right choice, which was to cut Robinson Cano, because it made the Mets a better team. Cutting Travis Jankowski would have been the wrong move. He's a great outfielder. He's probably, outside of Brandon Nemo, their best defensive outfielder because he plays all 3 outfield positions very well. He's also got the speed. So he's even shown some on-base prowess. You look at Luis Giorme. Yeah, he's got his faults. He's not a great hitter, but he does get on base, and he does play second base, shortstop, and third base at an elite level. Then you have Tomas Nido. What are you going to do? You're not going to you have to have 2 catchers, right? So, I mean, you're not sending him down to AAA. So at the end of the day, the right move was to cut Robbie Cano. The Mets made a right decision, a vision that wasn't dictated by financials or about namesake or about legacy. They made the move that made the Mets a better team that day. And for that, I am thankful. Goodbye, Robbie Cano. Adios. Have fun in San Diego if that's where you end up. Just don't do well there, please.
And Carson, cap it off. How do we remember this time?
Slam Diego loves the steroids. All right. Have fun in San Diego, Canola. It was a great time, man. I loved it. All I can say is that Brody Van Wagenen might be the greatest con man since Madoff. All I can say, it's incredible that a team is actually willing to give a major league deal to this loser in 2022. Listen, I understand he might be a Hall of Famer. He might be. But fuck off, man. It's enough. That was torture. Complete torture. And this was when the team was winning. But then you're like, oh, this guy's up.
Yeah.
I might as well leave the room. Who fucking cares? He's not going to do anything. Thanks for Edwin Diaz. Thanks for the elite reliever. Other than that, you're a bona fide scrub. Fuck off.
Oh. Yeah, and I think that's ultimately what it came down to, was just like he was obviously hurting the team more than he was helping the team. He just wasn't fitting in with what they're trying to build with this lineup of tough outs, nuances you want to call them, Nemo, Cano, Mcneal, even Marte puts the ball in play. Giorme, like that's what these guys do. They try to, like Chris Batt said, they want to grind. I mean, that's what they're doing. Cano was just up there hacking, and when he was hitting the ball, it wasn't going far. He wasn't hitting it hard. It wasn't like J.D. Davis where you're watching him get out, but saying, okay, at least there's something positive. There's something encouraging. You feel like, okay, this might not be sustainable. Maybe these will turn to hits. With Cano, it's like, nah, these are not going to become hits anytime soon. And like Carson said, I'm surprised that a team picked him up because it was taking a little while. You know, I mean, he's been gone a couple weeks now, and we haven't really seen anything with him. And how he fits in with San Diego, we'll see. I can't say I expect much. But the Mets definitely did make the right decision. It was very refreshing that they didn't say, you know, just because of his contract, he's going to be on this team and he's going to take away a spot from somebody who provides more value. And just the fact that he was going to play, the fact that we saw him play as much as he did, where he batted in the order, that 5th, 6th spot, it really was frustrating to watch. So I'm glad he's gone. The only thing that stinks about it is that if the Mets had the intention of we were going to get rid of him anyway a month in and just give him all the money, I wish that maybe they could have gotten a more proven DH because it's a topic we're going to get into later. You just have to figure out this whole thing of is it Dom? Is it JD? Is it Alonso our DH? You know, they just have this rotating door right now where you had the opportunity where you had some hitters out there that maybe you could have just had one guy pegged in that spot. But we'll see how that goes. At least it's not something they have to think about next year because don't forget, he would have been on this team next year as well. So we'll see how that affects the way they handle the offseason.
Another thing I want to add on Cano here, it just shows that I'm also seeing that it's like you're also seeing the reins being taken away from Sandy as well, because you've seen a lot of this, oh, well, this is my life now type of moves from the Mets with Sandy. As much as I like Sandy on the waiver claims, as much as I like him, I like what he did for this farm system, what he did in the draft. The guy, you know, obviously he's past that prime. It's starting to look like the new era. We were talking about a new era last year. We said, oh, it's a new era. We got a new owner. We got a new this. He's going to spend money. Now you're starting to see it. Like you're starting to see when a situation arrives, they don't panic. You're starting to see that situation where they have that stability and they're willing to do anything what it takes to win. And that's what I like, and that was so comforting to wake up to a Bleacher Report notification. Robinson Cano DFA'd by the Mets. Fuck off. Let's go. And now we can finally move on.
As far as I'm concerned, Sandy Alderson is basically taking the role of Weekend at Bernie's. Don't know if you guys have seen the cult classic film. Yeah, he is not doing anything. Okay, he has a nice comfortable couch where he can sit down and relax, and they give him some very important work. Sandy, we need you to put all these bobbleheads in this box for the promotion today, so be sure to do that, because as much respect as we have for him in the game of baseball,
you'll get more NyQuil if you do so.
He's past his prime, and yeah, I fully agree with you on that one, Metsfan.
Genuinely, who will do better for their team? Who will bring them more value? Kelenic on the Mariners or Cano on the Padres?
I'd say Kelenic still.
Yeah. Kelenic was the next coming.
Kelenic can run out an infield single, maybe. I mean, like,
yeah. Kelenic, when we traded for Diaz, Kelenic apparently was lefty Trout. That's what I heard. Lefty Trout. They screwed up big time.
Now PCA is the next coming.
All I can say is that, hey, Brody, you want a job again? I mean, you did a great job. I mean, look at the Diaz trade. Diaz is elite now. They got rid of Robinson Cano, right? Zach Wheeler's struggling this year. You know, Brody Van Wagner, he's sitting tight. You know, who needs a farm system? I mean, fuck, you know. Get out of here.
All right. Before we go into our next topic, if you could please leave a like on the stream, definitely helps us out. Leave some questions in the comment section below. We will start them. We'll get to them at certain points throughout the stream. So definitely be sure to do that. Check out everything is linked in the description. So be sure to check that out. But as we move on to our next topic, we kind of talked about a little bit during Cano, but Dominic Smith, I mean, this season, I mean, as when this was made in his 62 play appearance, only a 6% walk rate, 30% strikeout rate, 204 batting average is even lower now, I would imagine. 306 BABIP, 056 ISO, 550 OPS, 72 WRC plus. It's probably lower than that, and a negative F4. So the question comes down to, should we consider replacing him on the roster? Because with Cano gone, we thought that after Don Smith had that 4-hit game against Philadelphia, he was going to be the guy that was going to be playing on a consistent basis, getting the bulk share at that designated hitter position. So, Tony, What do you think the Mets should do with this Dominic Smith roster spot right now?
Yeah, I mean, going back to the whole situation when the Mets and every other MLB team had to cut down on their rosters, the Mets are kind of in a tough situation as far as it goes with Dom Smith. I mean, you can send him down to AAA. At the time, I thought it was the wrong move. I thought it would really negatively impact his psyche, obviously coming off a 4-hit game. And that wasn't the sole reason why I wanted to keep Dom Smith, but obviously because he has much higher upside. This isn't some scrub guy. This is a former first-round pick who, for a lot of years, we touted well over Pete Alonso. We didn't think that, we thought Dom Smith might be who Pete Alonso has become. Maybe not with as much home run prowess, but we were told this guy was going to be a well above average defender at first base, a guy that could hit 30 home runs a year and also hit 300. Obviously not the case. He had some flashes in 2019, although he was injured for half of that year. And then his 2020 season was tremendous. But again, 2020, what do you really count that for? He's been really brutal the last 2 years, in 2021 and so far early on this year. We heard about the trade with, Eric Hosmer, getting Emilio Pagan and getting Chris Paddock back. A lot of Mets fans kind of went crazy about it. Yes, no, they went to one side of the aisle or the other. At this point, I don't really think there's anything you can do with Dom Smith. I mean, you could send him down to AAA, and then what are you going to do? I guess maybe consider bringing up Mark Vientos at this point, but he's not a first baseman. So at that point, you're going to have to fill somebody else in when Pete needs a blow. We heard today Mark Canha's getting some reps at first base in practice. Is this the team preparing for the imminent, demotion of Dom Smith? Very possible. But as far as, the trade market's too early, it's too young in the season to really be, I think, exploring that. Dom Smith's value is never been lower than it is right now, in my opinion. So I don't think he's going to get much in a trade at this point. I think you just kind of ride it out and hope that he turns it around, continue going with the way it's been going. The team's winning, so it's not like he has been a detriment to their ability to put wins up in the win column. But obviously, his days here could be numbered if he does not find a way to turn it around, whether that be on another big league roster or up in Syracuse.
Yeah, I mean, Andrew, what are you thinking about Dom Smith in the GM role? I mean, how do you go about this roster spot? What kind of value is he really going to have? Like Tony said, I mean, you're in a really tough spot. I mean, he doesn't have much trade value left. It's hard to think that you're going to get another situation where it's like, oh, we can get 3 players for him, like 3 major league players for Dom Smith.
This attire fits very well right now. Yeah, for me, you're stuck. And Vientos was sucking in April and decided to finally show up once we kind of turned the calendar to May. 389 average, starting to see the power. Finally, starting to see the power come back. 4 extra base hits and 18 ABs in May, not including whatever he did today. So now you're starting to see the Vientos getting hot. And he did the same thing last year, where he started off really slow, and then once May and June hit, he started to turn into the Vientos. We're like, hey, this guy is like actually good. Like, he was always on that top 10 list. Like, he's there. He kind of really turned into the George Springer swing that we see. But really, there's nothing you can do. I've been a big advocate, and I'm going to continue once we get closer to the trade deadline, is this bench is not flexible. You got Jankowski to the outfield who could play everywhere, and Nito. And then a couple of people, as I call JD Davis. He was a person. You got 2 people in JD and Dom who don't give you any flexibility. And Giorme is a homeless man who just on this bench that play one position or hit. And neither of them, JD's hitting in the hard luck, okay? Dom's not doing anything. And like I said, the K rate's high, striking out, he's whiffing. He's complaining about strikes right down the middle and then swinging at a slider at his feet. He's kind of maybe it's in his head, maybe post Cano cut. He was like, okay, I got to fight for my life. And now he's just like, he's on the team, stayed on the team, and he's not taking the opportunity and ran with it. JD really hasn't done it either. Like you said, he's hitting to some hard luck, but neither of them are really taking this DH job and taking it by the balls and run with it. Obviously, we expected a deadline to Mets to add a bat. You could have an external option if Vientos keeps getting hot next week or 2 and he keeps hitting and these 2 guys don't. It's something to say, hey, experiment. You got to the deadline. You got time before the deadline. You can call up the plum dog as well. But again, the Mets need to do with the deadline is make this bench more versatile. I'll talk about that in future Mets weeklies of who some guys the Mets need to go out and get, because this bench has got no versatility. You got Giorme as your backup shortstop. Like, if you has to play, they're cool, but if Lindor gets hurt, we're screwed. We don't have a backup shortstop. Like, as much as Giorme gets on base, whatever, this bench isn't flexible, and Dom and JD being the biggest reasons of There's no flexibility. Oh, you want to throw JD in the outfield? You want to throw Dom in the outfield? So right now, you leave him. You let him, give him a little more rope. But if Vento starts getting hot, that's the guy they have to pivot to internally. Maybe there's a waiver claim. Maybe a guy who has maybe an Epler masterclass bat that maybe he finds. Maybe you bring him in as like a lightning in a bottle. But right now, let him play another week or two. Let Vientos get hot, and then if Vientos keeps hitting, you bring him up and then see what you got from him.
I think the bigger issue, before I get you, Carson, let me just defend Giorme real quick. I think the bigger issue is, let's say there is a scenario where Francisco Lindor does have another injury. Giorme moves to shortstop, but then the issue is, okay, now when Escobar needs a day, now when Jeff needs a day, who's that infield that's going to play those spots? It's not Matt Reynolds. He's gone now. Yeah. So I think that's the bigger issue. So Carson, well, I mean, it's not Wyatt Young because he's in AA. So
triple, not yeah. He'll talk about another.
Did you see his batting average in AAA?
It's
absolute
minor
bullshit.
Leagues. This isn't the big leagues. Big leagues is a different ball game. I mean, wait a second. Didn't Khalil Lee have a good WRC plus in AAA last year?
He was drafted like last year, right? And they put him in AAA, and he was hitting amazing. That's all I gotta say. Maybe this guy's advanced. He might be the greatest prospect known to man. We don't know. Anyways, Dom Smith.
Yeah.
Chris Paddock, Emilio Pagan, and Eric Hosmer, they were right there. I know it's not this big impact return. They could be because they've shown signs. Eric Hosmer, enemy in New York, but other than that, the reality is, like we've said, Dom Smith was a first-round pick back in 2013. Fast forward to 2022, we haven't seen a full first-round pick, franchise cornerstone potential season from him. He is a great defender at first base, right? But like we said this off-stream, is that really a good reason to keep him around? No, it really isn't. Then you have JD, who I believe should be the DH until the trade deadline. And, he is pretty much destroying the baseball right now. Now, listen, I am not a big fan of Ex-Woba.
It's a hot take.
But I am not a big fan of Ex-Woba. Again, grain of salt for expected metrics. But, hello? Like, come on. Right?
Do you see Tim Anderson in there?
Yes, you do see Tim Anderson. He's actually hitting fly balls this year. Look at this man.
Do I see Don Birdie in there, certified Met killer?
Yep. I mean, look at that. That's insane. And that's qualified plate appearances right there. So why is this guy not our everyday DH? Right? He fits the role. He's not going to play third base. He's not going to play outfield. So why are we platooning that? I mean, I don't get it.
Look, I think the great thing that we found out from the Robinson Cano situation is that this organization is running based on merit. It's a meritocracy now. If you're not performing, you will either be cut or sent down depending on the circumstances. And this is where things get tricky for Dom Smith because he's really the only guy on the bench that has any options. Tomas Nido, you can't send him down. We need two catchers. JD Davis, I believe, is out of options. Jankowski would have to pass through waivers. Newsflash, a team will pick him up. So obviously, just from a roster construction standpoint, who's the odd man out? It's Dom Smith, who could be sent down to AAA, hopefully restore some of the value that he has, and hopefully maybe be brought back up. But, at this point, right now he's the odd man out, and he's going to have to either start pulling it together very fast, or the Mets are going to move on and find someone else that can do his job.
And I think the other problem is that when the day the trade rumor came out with San Diego, we heard Dom Smith say, I would prefer to be a starting player. I want to start every day. And then we say, okay, well, maybe he could play first and P. Alonso could DH. Then P. Alonso says, no, I want to play first. I don't want to DH. So they're trying to work out that whole dynamic. And it's like, okay, well, if Dom Smith is this good defender at first base, you bring him in the ninth inning to play defense, you want to take P. Alonso out of the game? A guy who is the only power hitter on this team right now. You want to take him out of this lineup just in case things get a little tricky and you might need a plate appearance from that spot. I mean, that's something that's really concerning. And then even last year we heard about, oh, wait a minute, but his shoulder was bothering him. That's why he had the bad year last year. It was the shoulder. Could only swing with the two hands. He couldn't let go with one hand. So he had a good spring training. Wait a minute. Okay, Dom's back. All right, he's going to have a good year. And then what happened? There's a lot of different angles going on. And then, like I said, the way to fix JD, the way to fix Pete, and I just don't like the quality of the bats. I mean, again, if you're struggling, at least work a count. At least put the ball in play. When you're, like Tony said, when you're taking pitches down the middle and then swinging at the dirt, when you're having a lot of swords, as they would call them, and just you're not even close to the ball, it's like, oh, well, I said with Cano before I got him, oh, he just missed it. No, Dom is not just missing it. Like, he's way off. And like you said, I mean, this team right now, it could use some power. I mean, we really could use some other guys that every now and then could just give you a random long ball, get a run on the board. Been a year since this guy's a home run. He hasn't hit a home run yet this season. He hit some off Max Scherzer in spring training. I mean, oh my God, how about that? But what happened now? So it is one of the situations where, like Tony said, he's had plenty of chances. I mean, we can't say that the guy hasn't had his opportunities to be successful. So if you don't play well, you don't play at all. I mean, that's just the way it's got to be. And like Andrew said, I think come trade deadline time, if neither one of these guys step up, you better believe they have got to get some other bats in here and guys that just fit the team better, that could give you that depth and versatility just in case of any injuries. Because if something were to happen to any of these guys, Dom Smith ain't going to help fix the problem. It's not like, oh, well, we have to keep Dom in case this guy gets hurt. It's like, nah, you don't. I mean, you can have McCann play first. Now we hear that Mark Canha might be playing first. So we have guys that can play first base. I mean, I don't think that's really a big cause of concern because obviously we have Pete Alonso as well. So I think that he's making it. Yeah, and you're playing guys in the minors too. So you got Polka. They have options at first. So that's not really a position where it's like we have to keep him.
Vientos can play first base.
And he has played a little bit of first. And he's probably going to have to because it doesn't look like third base is his long-term home, especially with the other prospects in the system. So, I mean, that might be something they could explore as well. I mean, maybe you do have a situation where it's like, okay, well, if Vientos continues to swing the bat well, you have Vientos at first, Pete DH, vice versa, that kind of thing. Because, again, Pete has done really well at DH. I know he doesn't like it, but he's played well there. But we'll see how that ends up going, which brings us to our next topic, which we haven't touched on quite yet. Trevor May. I mean, we talked about, oh, he's a dud. He's not the guy that we brought him in to be. He's struggling, giving up the home run ball, overthrowing, getting frustrated on the mound. Well, it turns out that he had right tricep inflammation and all these other things, and he had some stress thing going on in his arm too, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. So he's going to be on the IL, and it looks like for quite an extended period of time. I mean, we don't really have an exact timetable on when this guy is going to be back. So how should they utilize May's spot in his absence? And I'm actually going to start with Carson this time. How do we utilize that Trevor May spot?
Well, we just called up my top choice today, and that's Jake Reed. So every top-tier bullpen, in my opinion, needs a submariner. That's my preference. Oh yeah, that's absolutely happening.
I mean, I plan on doing a lot of things. That doesn't mean it's going to happen.
Yeah,
I plan on making a video.
There you go.
All right.
What happens first?
I
the
also
Carson video or Dom Smith home run. Place your bets in the chat.
I mean, how inconsistent these baseballs are. One of them will go out, right? Shoot it till it goes in. James Hard.
I think it's hard to see the Nationals trading a big player in the division, especially to the Mets.
I don't see that happening.
Whoa, Merlin. Let's keep it PG. Jeez Louise.
He's right.
All right.
Okay.
Continue.
But if they were to exercise the options with Jake Reed, because he does have options, I'm pretty sure. He has, 2 other ones or whatever. I would like to see them expand maybe the lefty options. You know, you have Joely as your matchup lefty. You have Shreve as a kind of versatile type of guy. But maybe add a lefty like Alex Claudio, my boy Josh Walker, to maybe phase out these opponents with different pitching styles. Because with lefties, there's tons of types of lefties. You got your side armors. You got your 3/4 guys. You got your guys max perceived velocity, throwing 95 that looks like 99. You know, you have tons of different lefties, and they have some of those options. It's just a little bit thin, but, you know, why not? But, Mark Ogans, that's not happening. I'm sorry. But other than that, yeah, I'd love to see them kind of utilize the lefties because we really have not. We've only had like these lone lefties, so why not? Why not bring in a new brand? Why not? Trevor May, I hope that you do feel better. I hope you're better when you come back. Stop being stupid. Stop playing Fortnite. It's melting your brain, and that's about it. Don't see him coming back when he leaves as a free agent, but that's a different topic for another day. But yeah, I'd love to see how they utilize these arms. Jake Reed, enter Jake Reed. I love Jake Reed, so Submariners are awesome.
Going to go to GM Rhino. How do you utilize this New York Mets bullpen with no elite Trevor May in there?
I don't think anyone's ever said that before, but yeah, Carson
I
kind of stole my
almost did.
thunder. He almost did, but Carson kind of stole my thunder a little bit because Claudio would be the first guy I'm calling up to move maybe Shreve into a more important role. I know this, Tub would like to see Shreve in more higher leverage, to have a third lefty, to have maybe Claudio, which Claudio can get out righties decently. He's got a funky delivery to pick up, and having Joelli's or two guys like Soto, Hartwell. You're not going to see Bryce Harper, but Soto or Olson's up. You go to those two guys, have a secondary lefty, so you can use him in the sixth, and then you have a guy in the ninth. If obviously it would be Diaz, but let's say, hey, Diaz isn't available. Olson's the 8th or 9th. You have the guy in the 6th and the 7th, and you have a guy you can use in the 9th. And then Shreve you can use in the high leverage. Colin Holderman, that is the name. I'm going to keep calling his name until he's up here. He's given the shot. He pitched well in spring training. He's hitting pretty well down, pitching pretty well down in Syracuse. Nine games played, 2.90 ERA, and 12 1/3 innings pitched. 3 for 4 in save opportunities. 13 strikeouts to 3 walks down in Syracuse. Another guy you can explosive stuff, and you can kind of Drew Smith him. Start him at the bottom, have him work through, and then potentially, again, you have another lights-out guy, and you're going to have plenty of control years. He's got, obviously hasn't done the big leagues yet, so now you got another guy. When you lose all these, pretty much the whole bullpen's gone in the offseason, you have a guy that you can trust now going into next year who has, could he be a future closer? Possibly. Him and Drew Smith could be a potential lockdown back end, but right now you can use him in the 6th, 7th inning, give him some experience, and then if he pitches well, you can start, see him in other higher leverage situations. But for me, it's Holderman if you want to go kind of more upside to potentially have another high upside guy. If you want to go like just giving another guy, it's probably Claudio's the most MLB ready, obviously. So I'm going to go Claudio or Holderman.
Right, and TonyMetro, you had the whole speech about Trevor May last Mets Weekly. He's on the injury list now. So what do you do? How do you replace that, performance that we hope to get, but we never quite got it?
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to replace what he was doing. That was terrible. But you know what? Here's the great thing about this Mets bullpen. They have shown stability so far this year. Not something that we as Mets fans have become accustomed to over the last 5+ years, going on 60 years, really. It seems like ever since I've been a Mets fan, they've never had a great bullpen. And so far, early on in this season, we have stability. We have Joely Rodriguez, who has been able to come in pretty much at any point in time in a game and strike out some of the better hitters in baseball. We've had Seth Lugo start to look like the Seth Lugo of old lately, bending those breaking balls in, those curveballs. So that's been a great sign. We've got the emergence of Drew Smith. Huge credit to Metsfan on that one. I was totally wrong, and he has been dominant so far this year. And, of course, Edwin Diaz locking it down, looking like the elite closer that we traded one of the top prospects in baseball for. But anyway, that's the biggest key, is that all the other surrounding pieces have been so great that it is giving the Mets the flexibility to give other guys an opportunity to show what they have. We had Steven Nogasek throw 3 innings of scoreless relief yesterday. Prior to that, we've had other guys coming up like their name escapes me.
Medina, Lopez.
Lopez, exactly. So this is what I really like, is that the other 5, 6, 7 dudes in the bullpen are doing well enough that we can kind of experiment with this last place that Trevor May is now surrendered as he goes on to the injured list. So for me personally, I just throw as much stuff at the wall as you can and see what sticks. Maybe Taiwan Walker is going to end up going to the bullpen if Jacob deGrom ever returns. Maybe David Peterson's going to come back and be that guy who also gives you a spot start. He pitched out of the bullpen after Walker left his first start versus Philly, and he pitched very well that game. So that's just how I feel about it, is just throw as many things as you can at the wall and just see what sticks. I think it's great that we seem to have a lot of depth. And for the most part, guys have been coming up and pitching pretty well. So I'm not super concerned. I'm hoping Trevor May gets back and to his Minnesota Twins form from 2 years ago. And it'll only be another asset to have as we get toward the end of the season.
I want to add something on the bullpen. This is like the first time where I'm like, when someone comes in, every time someone comes in out of the bullpen, there's not a single person in this bullpen where I'm like, oh God, here we go. Like, that's how I'm feeling. Like, they have the meltdowns, they have this, they have that, but it doesn't get in their head. Like that's what I like to see. And that's what I've been like pushing for that to happen with Jeremy Hefner. But the only problem that has been the block in the road has been there's been so many fucking injuries. That's the thing. And none of them can get on track. We've seen guys like Drew Smith go down multiple times. We've seen guys like, Seth Lugo has been in and out.
Last year.
Jake Reed got hurt. I mean, our backups got hurt. Our backups got hurt last year. Even before, you just saw Sean Reed-Foley go down with Tommy John surgery. I mean, that's been the block. And that's what I feel like has kept Hefner from building this juggernaut of a bullpen that I always talk about. And that's what you're seeing right now. You have the little dust-ups. It happens. It's not perfect. But, you're also seeing some of these spare pieces come in here. It's like, oh, this guy was DFA'd. This guy looked crappy there. Jeremy Hefner comes in. Throw this, do this. It's over. Guys has 4 straight scoreless innings. Okay. Great. I mean, they can literally experiment right now. And that's what I like. Like, you don't have to worry about your top guys. Edwin Diaz, much as he gave up the home run to Soto. Soto's not that good of a player, so I'm very concerned. But other than that, you look at Drew Smith. He's really come into his own this year. Adam Adovino's had his tough outings, but he's been good for the most part. There's a lot of these guys where you're like, okay, this guy's just going to finish off the inning, maybe give up 1 hit. Maybe 1, 2, 3 inning. That's it. Moving on. We're up to bat. Let's hope we can have some consistent offense. That's it. And that's what I really like about this bullpen. There's nothing I'm shivering about. Like, there's nothing that I'm like, oh, this looks bad. This looks this looks that. It's a tough outing. It's a tough outing. Move on. And then they're better right afterwards. So I like what Hefner's doing. I just like the energy that has just been formed around this clubhouse right now. The culture, shall we say, for the Mafia Rhino.
I think for me, I'm glad that they called up Jake Reed. I want to see what he could do this year, with Jeremy Hefner, with all these other things that they got going on, because I always like a guy with a weird delivery. I always like a sidearmer, a submariner, whatever you want to call it. I think that could provide a lot of value to a bullpen where you're like, where you think about, okay, they talk so much about third time around the order. Hitters are starting to make their adjustments to the starting pitcher. They've seen the sky ray. They know what to expect. They know how the breaking ball works. They know what the off speed is, what the fastball is doing. So you show them a different look their next time out. It says, okay, well, now here's Chasen Shreve with his splitter and try to hit that. And it says, okay, next at bat, oh, now you're getting Jake Reed with a sidearm. Next at bat, oh, how about Edwin Diaz throwing 100 miles an hour? So the hitter is like, they're constantly having to make adjustments. They can't get comfortable. So I think that Jake Reed would be really good to have as a matchup guy for those very particular scenarios where you're just showing the hitter something very different. So I want to see what he has. And like we said, we've had so many different guys step up so far that I think let's give Jake Reed a chance to see how he does. And then you can kind of go from there and experiment, and hopefully no more injuries to that bullpen. Because like I said, we lost Sean Reed-Foley. We do have some arms that we like in the minors, but still, you just want to keep these guys as healthy as possible. I mean, you don't want to lose Drew Smith again. You don't want to lose Lugo again. You don't want any of that stuff to happen because everybody's been pitching really well for the most part, as Carson said. And we had that streak going on for a while. Juan Soto tends to do that. He does it to everybody. So I really like what we've seen. And so far, has it been like, man, do we miss Trevor May? Like at least it hasn't been like that where we lost him, but we haven't really paid the price for it quite yet. So that's really what I've been glad to see so far.
There's no scavenging around. Like last year you saw, because there were so many injuries, and it's not just like there wasn't quality arms, because they had a lot of quality arms last year, but it's just, the thing is that everyone's staying healthy. There's just so many different pieces that are coming from different things that they're adopting, and it looks like it's really starting to, bring in a good flow, especially through the bullpen. And that's a tough thing to see, because the bullpen, relievers, one of the most inconsistent positions in all of sports. I'm going to tell you right now. And it's looked great. So hopefully we didn't jinx it. We know June is on its way, but oh, God. That's when we'll be on edge, folks. That's when we'll be on edge.
Yeah, so just that's why it's very important to just keep winning. I mean, give yourself as much of a cushion for when the eventual struggle happens. Because, I mean, we had a question. What happens first? The Mets sweep a series or the Mets lose a series? I think that's a pretty interesting question. Andrew, what do you think happens first? Mets finally going to sweep? They've had plenty of 2 out of 3s, or do they actually lose 2 out of 3?
I'd probably say 2 out of 3 because the Mariners can give you fits and the Cardinals can give you fits. So I'd say they lose a series before they get a sweep. I think in a 4-game series, the Cardinals, potentially, who knows with how I think it's like Taiwan leads off that series, so you never know, pitching wise. So I say they lose the series will happen first before a sweep.
Tony, are you feeling positive enough to say that a sweep would happen before the winning series streak ends?
I'm leaning more toward them losing a series. However, they do have 3 with the Rockies, but they do have, before that, a 3-game set. Sorry, actually a 4-game set with the Cardinals following this weekend here with Seattle. So, I mean, if they win 2 out of 3 with Seattle and then split with St. Louis, maybe they sweep the Rockies, but I don't think they're sweeping St. Louis or Seattle over these next 7 games or 6 or whatever it is. So, yeah, I probably lean more toward they're going to lose their first series before they sweep one.
What about you, Carson? Are you going the different route, or?
I'd love to see them sweep a series. I'd love to see it. But it's like, it's always that game that keeps them from doing it. It's like they just fall right short. Like most of these, what have we seen? 10 series so far? They lose by 1 run. Yeah. Luckily, that's only happening 1 out of the 3, not like last year when they would lose by 1 run all the fucking time because they couldn't hit for their lives. But with this pitching, it could keep them in the game. Maybe the ball rolls the right way, and we get a sweep. To be honest, we haven't seen them sweep a series yet. We haven't seen them lose a series. To be honest, if either of those happen at this rate, the Earth's going to fucking blow up. That's pretty much what you're going to say.
Yeah, well, there is an asteroid heading for Earth that's the size of the Empire State Building, so wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, we're dead.
Mets make the World Series.
Mets are 1 out away.
Bang.
Positivity, is what you come here for. I'm also going to have to, unfortunately, go with the losing the series, only because the series in Colorado is at Coors Field, which anything could happen there. Colorado's been much better at home than they're on the road. And then you're going to San Francisco. Good luck sweeping that one. So I think by that time, you're bound to lose series. I hope not. I mean, listen, I hope that, I don't want to say neither, but, just don't lose a series. I mean, I'll live without a sweep if you don't lose a series. I think that's a fair compromise. It's gotten them to the point they're at now. So I think just keep that going and we'll all be happy.
To be honest, don't get swept. That's all I got to say. Don't get swept.
Yeah.
To be honest, because you know you're going to get close to being swept in the June doldrums. You know it's happening. And listen, sorry for the negativity, but we've seen this for 60 fucking years, people, all right? That it's going to happen. So it's like, at least take 1 game from a competitive team. If they have your number, they have your number. It's like the Rangers, just try. Just try. That's it. They tried last night and they won. The kids. Good job, kids. Anyway, they're going to lose game 6. Listen. Hockey's got the energy. It's got the energy, all right?
And beautiful
Baseball's getting pretty boring, all right? You got these dead balls, and it's killing me, man.
Frank, you need to moderate.
Yeah, the dead puck is really made tough. If anyone's wondering what we're talking about, we say June. Just real quick. you're looking at Dodgers, at Padres, at Angels, home versus Brewers and Marlins, then at Houston, at Marlins, home for Houston. There's nothing fun in there at all.
I gotta up my meds. I gotta up my meds during that shit,
let's
man.
Be honest here. Every one of those teams are below us right now, so we shouldn't fear anybody. They should fear our big 15-inch,
Look, just finish out May strong, on the same trajectory, and then just you got to tread water in June. Try to play 500 ball, even if you're a game or 2 or 3 under during that time. Like, just tread water. Don't have the epic collapse of losing 9 out of 10. That's what will derail a season.
Our Microsoft limbs, we'll see how they handle what's going to be happening in June. And I mean, we talk about us being positive, but geez Louise, I mean, you're not very positive about your Mariners if you think that Bassett's throwing a no-hitter shirt.
Bro, J-Rod's he's going to hit 4 homers in this series. Stop.
I just need Diaz to strike out Kelenic to end one of the games. That's all I need, and then I'm set. I can spam the video all the time on Twitter and piss all of you off. Yes, do it. That's all I ask.
Barrel into the shape.
No. Yeah. If he hits a home run, it's going to be a .050.
No, he's
XBA
barreling it off the shape.
That's what's going to happen.
Adam Dunn's style.
Yeah, because he's Juan Soto. I forgot. No, he's Mike Trout.
One of those ones that barely gets out. But it's Citi Field, so it'd be kind of tough to do. All right, and then here's an interesting question. I'm curious to see what direction this goes. But who is the key to a consistent offense going forward? Because we have seen the ups and we've seen the downs as far as the offense. No, we see games where the Mets score 10 runs. You see the game where the Mets score 1 run. And the Mets are one of the only teams, if not the only team, that has not been shut out yet this season. So what is the key to a consistent offense going forward? Let me kick it off with TonyMetro, since you like to talk about the hitters and the slumps and dead balls, no big deal. What do you got?
For the record, I'm not saying it's no big deal. I'm just saying at a certain point, you got to call a spade a spade. And I've seen a lot of Lindor shuffling the deck and not hitting the ball very well or showing very good at-bats. Okay. But that all being said, we've always said that the offense goes as Nemo goes. Nemo always seems to go, though, and still the Mets may not score runs. So I kind of am going out on a limb here, and I'm going to say Mark Canha. Canha has really shown a great on-base prowess, not just by virtue of getting walks, but by also getting base knocks. Great sign to see him hit his second home run of the season today as well. It could just be recency bias, but it does seem like when Mark Canha is in the middle of things, the Mets are scoring runs. So for me personally, it's Canha. I'd like to see him be starting every single day, which I don't know why he's not at this point, but I really think he's been a huge piece of this lineup when he is playing.
He's a 4th outfielder. That's why he's not starting every day.
I think what it comes down to is just the fact that he's 33 years old. And like you said, he's been so good. You don't want to run the risk of tiring him out so he isn't as good, or worse, the risk of injuring him. So I think that Buck is trying to be smart with Canha and Escobar. I think he really should take the same route with Marte, because Marte is older than both of them, and he already had the injury in spring training. So I think he should be a little more careful with Marte, maybe have him DH a little bit now and then, get Jankowski more reps or things like that. So that's why I think Mark hasn't played as much as we all would like to. And even Buck kind of alluded to that. They asked him about it because he had the big game. He's like, yeah, you like to play him more, but he wants to keep that whole thing of everybody gets involved, nobody gets in a rush or things like that. Everyone keeps their rhythm.
Right.
Go ahead, Tony.
That's a regular thing with Canha. Like, that's a regular thing with Canha that's gone on in his career. He's kind of been a 2 out of 3 game player. Like, that's kind of like what he's been. Aside from the 2020 season where he played 59 out of the 60 games, like, he's usually the 2 out of 3 type of guy, mainly because Oakland, I'm pretty sure, had another outfielder I can't even think of. They had Steven Piscotty rotting on the bench for a long time. But
Yoenis Cespedes.
But yeah, other than that,
Ramon had a lot of time in the outfield before.
He's quite the show, isn't he, Mark Canha? He's great. I like him. He's my dad.
Okay.
But yeah.
Andrew, what dad is the key to the Mets offense going forward?
I had an answer going into this segment, and then again, I have a lot of epiphanies mid-show of who is the key.
Uh-oh.
And we talk about this team doesn't have a lot of power. Besides that, my best friend. My best friend's the only power hitter. But we also brought in a power hitter who's done literally nothing, and that is Mr. RBI Man, which is the other thing he was brought in to drive in the runs. That's Eduardo Escobar. And yeah, in the beginning of the year, when the offense was going full cylinders, he was actually productive. That was when his hot stretch was going on. He's walking, he's getting the hits. Now that he's gone completely ice cold Michael Conforto in June style, it's been up and down. So hey, there's 8 runs, there's 1 run on the board. There's this up and down consistency. In the first couple weeks in April, when he was being productive, the offense every game 4, 5, 6 runs every single game. Now that he's cooled down, you're starting to get they got this game that's scoring 9. This run they scored 2. So I think he is more important to this offense. Yes, we control how much as we can, but he is important because he was supposed to provide some more power to this lineup. He's only hit the 1 homer when that was one of his job was to drive and runs, but also protect Pete Alonso a little bit. Pete's doing his job, but he really has been in the second half going into May. It's been ice cold, and the offense has been more inconsistent than it was in April. So maybe he is a bigger piece than we want to say he is, but Eduardo Escobar.
Okay. Carson, your key. Who is it?
Now, before I do, I would like to ask a question about Escobar, a guy that goes back and forth like that, and a guy who's iffy and that.
Michael Conforto, move on. Get to your next point.
You know what we call that? We call that mid. All right, main key.
Go.
I said this before the season, and I'll say it now. Pete Alonso. He's the main guy to produce the offense. Lots of table setters in this lineup. Never thought that Escobar was the good enough guy to be the protection around him, and he's not really shown to be that. And he needs to be that main source of production. And he's been doing that the last 2 weeks. He's looked great since meeting the Rhino. He's been great. And that doesn't mean play the hero ball, because he just gets in his head sometimes. But just be one of the top contributors. Be that guy in the middle of the lineup. And be that guy. Just be that guy. That's it. And if he is that guy, if he is that 2019 guy or whatever, that the top tier doing all that, even though I think he's matured a lot more as a hitter now, might look at an extension for this guy. I'm not gonna lie, because he's really stabilized a really good career so far, and that might be something you want to stick around right now. That's all I gotta say.
And then my key is going to be Francisco Lindor, only because we're talking about consistent. And I think Brandon Nemo is a really consistent player. We know that game in, game out, he's probably going to get on base at a high rate. I think Jeff McNeil, now that he's getting closer to himself, he's a pretty consistent player. We know he's going to put the bat on the ball. He's going to move runners over, going to go the other way. I think Pete Alonso is a pretty consistent player. We know he's going to have the power. As long as he's not chasing, Pete Alonso's not a guy I worry about. And then a guy like Marte, he's gonna put the ball in play. Sometimes it's at the third baseman, sometimes it's in between the third base and shortstop. That's kind of the give or take with Marte. Sometimes infield hit, sometimes it's a routine ground out to third base. So when you look at the way the lineup is constructed, you have Francisco Lindor in that third spot where a lot of times Nemo's on base in front of him and Pete Alonso's on base behind him. So he bats in a really key spot in line, that number 3 hole. That's a lot of times in traditional days where we put your big-time player. And that 2 hole, we've seen Marte there, we've seen Cano there, we've seen that rotate a little bit. So I think if Francisco Lindor could be consistent, as I said earlier, it's all going to come down to consistency with him. He has the talent. It comes down to being consistent. If he's consistently driving in Nemo and Marte and getting on in front of Alonso, that's going to lead to just a all-around consistent offense where you're going to see them game in, game out, putting a pretty good total of runs. So to me, I think he would be the key for a consistent offense. Okay. Anyone have anything on to add? No. All right. Then we will move on to studs and duds, yes? Or we want to go another top?
No, we got criteria and then studs. Studs.
I'll end with criteria because it could get heated.
Okay.
Oh, yeah,
right.
yeah.
So then we shall go with the studs and the duds. Our favorite segment of the week. Chat, don't forget, leave your studs, leave your duds, and let's get right to it. So, TonyMetro, do you have your guys in mind, or you want to defer to someone else?
I'm ready.
All right, let's hear him.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going with the chalk on this one. I think that a lot of these will be shared with you guys, but my stud of the week got to be Polar Bear Pete. We've been referencing how great he's been since you met the Rhino up here. So obviously a nice week here, 3 home runs since Sunday, 2 on Sunday, and then obviously 1 yesterday. And yeah, obviously he's been also going the other way with the ball, which has been great. Got that batting average well up over 270, I think now, 280. So been really encouraging to see Pete not trying to do too much and still also hitting home runs. And clearly the dud, we've talked about him ad nauseum in this channel, in this stream tonight, is Dom Smith. On the precipice of potentially getting sent down at this point. He's been so brutal. Can't even think of his last hit. I mean, I think it was an RBI double down the left field line versus the Phillies at Citi Field like a week and a half ago. So
To send Cano to Korea, and he's done nothing.
Was that his last? It has to be his last one driven.
I think it was that RBI double he hit down the left field line. I think it was at Citi Field.
And
so
he-
it was that Mets series.
Yeah. So and he's been batting. He batted 5th last night.
Yeah, I don't know. He's been terrible. So stud, Pete Alonso, dud, Dom Smith.
Okay, Andrew, who are your studs and duds of the week?
Oh, my stud's my best friend. It's got to be my best friend, right? It's got to be. It's got to be Brandon Nemo. God, the underappreciated best friend. I mean, come on. I mean, yeah, Pete hits the homers, but who's on base for him? Another 3-hit day tonight. High batting average. This guy's going for the batting title at about 285 now. He gets hot, ladies and gentlemen. Heel Nemo. You know, the power was early. He can flip that power switch back on. Hell, he might try to hit 30, even though he had that balls. Bring the juice balls back. He's hitting 40. But stud, it's my best friend. One of my 2 best friends. My dud, just talked about him. Eduardo Escobar. I think he just got a hit today or was yesterday. He snapped like
Yesterday.
an 0 for 20. So, you know, big 0 for. I'll go with Eddie again. He could be ski. I'm not, I'm not the guy below me who's just an absolute dickhead, but he's been bad this past 2 week stretch. So the dud of the week for me is going to be Eduardo Escobar.
I am not a dickhead. Okay, it's all a persona. Right.
Okay, Carson, do you have any special numbers for your studs and duds, or are you going with
All
the
right.
little casual eye tests?
Well, I think y'all had some really good picks, but my dud, it's got to be Dom Smith. I think we're all gonna, I think we all can say that. It's brutal. He just looks brutal. Again, thank you for knocking Cano out, sending him to Korea, but other than that, it's just been like, what are we doing here, man? It's just every time he's at the plate, it's like, oh God, what is happening here? It's not like the bullpen where I'm like, when someone comes in, I'm like, yay, I get to see this guy pitch. There's some guys in this lineup, and we won't name any names, where I'm like, when is this at bat going to be over? Yeah. When is this at bat going to be over? And when is this? And it usually is over very quick because they're down in 3-4 pitches. Stud. No one's talking about this guy, and I'm going to put his name out there. Joely Rodriguez. 8 consecutive scoreless innings. Not only is he getting the soft contact, he's not getting the ground ball contact, but he's getting soft contact. But he's also at a career strikeout rate of 33.3%. Higher than Aaron Loop. Just saying. It's an Epler masterclass. It's too bad that he can't get pitching. That sucks, though.
Sucks.
But, no, Joely Rodriguez has been great. And even though he has had the limited outings, we took a 2-week. We haven't had a show in 2 weeks, so it kind of works. So, Joely Rodriguez.
Old man.
All right, so then I'll start from my dud. Since nobody took him, I'll take Francisco Lindor. I mean, I know he hit the ball hard. I get it. But for the most part, I mean, if you're not getting hits, the results weren't there. I mean, they ended up being outs, even though he put on plenty of good swings last week in particular. This week, I feel like not quite as much. So I think that, again, results are the results. So I'm going to have to go Lindor for the duds. But then for the stud, I have got to, because this might be the one time I get to do it, I have got to take the all-star himself, Taiwan Walker, putting together a big bid, because he is a big guy, pitching performance today against the Washington Nationals after Tyler Mcgill stuck up the joint last night. made the long relievers tire out their arms. We could have been in a bad scenario. We could have been with a really tired bullpen heading against this long stretch of games with no days off. But don't worry. Thick Tub Ty here to save the day. And not only did he do that, but he did something that all Met fans want to do. He gave a big hit stick tackle to Juan Soto, trying to come to third base. And then with an Allen Iverson-like stand over Juan Soto, like, yeah, come at me, bro. He had a bad back. The guy was going through some pain. He pitched through it. He's trying to catch pop-outs running into the dugout. He's jumping up for choppers. So this might be the one time I get to put him on this graphic. Taiwan Walker, stud of the week.
Ew.
A lot of ground ball outs. So, I mean.
He did get a lot of ground balls. Sierra's going to love him. Gonna kiss him. She loves him.
Bro, why are we talking about Russell Wilson's wife? Who the fuck cares?
She's hot.
All right, go to criteria.
So, anyways, speaking of hot takes and hot and all that stuff, Carson's criteria. Is it that time?
Do we want to do that, or do we want to go to the interactive quiz?
Would you be okay with sending Dosma down?
Where the hell have you been? We're talking about this.
Well, I think the question comes down to, okay, let's say it does get to the point where Dom Smith is struggling enough where it's like, okay, we got to send him down. We have to do something. Who do you call up in to go along with the Dom Smith send down? Andrew, is there like a particular guy that would have to go up right away from the minors?
Metsfan, you ready? We doing this in the same vein.
All right. Yep.
It's the mother effing Polk dog.
Polk dog.
The Polk dog. He's ready. He's hitting fat nukes. Dude's hitting lefty homers, righty lefty homers off ace minor league prospects, off bum ass Vance Worley. He's just hitting bombs. Like he
hit one off of Mark Appel. We saw that.
Mark Appel, number 1 overall, maybe the biggest draft bust of all time. But hell, he's coming back. I didn't realize he's even coming back. It's the Polk dog, and this team needs power. Hell, the Pirates are starting Dan Vogelbach and what's the other fat guy in MLB? Like, there's plenty of fat guys that
he's doing big numbers.
Roddy Perez is actually productive, so I was thinking more like the bum ass fat guys. But the Mets could use themselves with Dan Vogelbach, and the Polk dog can be that. And if Dom's just going to go out there swinging 3 pitches, I'd rather the Polk dog go out and do that because the Polk dog can make contact. It's going 550 feet. Like, it's going to be a Polk smash. So, for me, if Dom's going, if it's not going to be Vientos, I'm calling the Polk dog up first.
What about you, Tony? Is there a guy?
I mean, the first choice is definitely Mark Vientos, but, is he ready? I don't know. It's like, I don't know. I feel like he's been in the minor league system forever. So, I mean, that would be ideal to bring him up. Otherwise, the next choice is a guy that we've already seen, and we should all know it just from this.
The Plum Dog.
And now there's the. Oh no, it's not my channel. Go ahead.
Probably just got copyrighted.
No, it's not my channel.
Copyright, right?
Anyway,
it's 10.1 seconds you can do.
Yeah,
so
we got to see maybe what Nick Palmer has. Obviously, really big season last year at AA and AAA for the Cardinals, and then obviously they had to let go of him just from a roster construction standpoint. But all the things seem to be trending in the right direction. I haven't really checked on his minor league numbers lately, but hey, what was his ex-woba on that ball that he hit in his?
They don't do ex-woba in the minors. Thank God.
No, he had his one at bat. He hit a line drive out to center field.
Oh no, he hit it hard. We like hard hits.
God, in your eyes, Mets fan. Oh my God, expected.
I mean, he's got a swing like Michael Conforto, so maybe.
God, I don't want any part of him then.
And if anyone is wondering on the numbers, Daniel Palka so far for Syracuse has 8 home runs. But if we look at old man stats, he is batting .231, but a redeeming .901 OPS. And then as far as Nick Plummer in Syracuse, he has 5 home runs, batting .278 with the .875 OPS. So if anyone was curious on the particulars, that is for those 2 players. And I'm not sure where the we comes from since you're a Mariners fan, but should we trade Mcgill?
Here's what we do.
100%.
We need a bundle. I need both the prospects. I need them both. I need George Master Kirby, and I need Julio, and then you can have Mcgill.
Tony, do you think the Mets should trade Tyler McGill?
I mean, I'm not even taking that question seriously. So
All right.
I mean, Kirby clears, but
No, we'll just move on. All right. So then the next thing we have is Carson's criteria. Hit it.
All right.
Breaking the cannon. Wait a
missed
second. Wait a
that.
second. What happened to Cy Young Robbie Ray? I thought this guy was a Cy Young winner, 5 years, over $100 million. What happened?
they didn't need to spend money. They have him in the minor leagues, but they
Was he a fluke Cy Young winner? Did that happen?
Oh yeah, 100%. But
You
got Kirby, exactly. He knows the box. He's got the Kirby, man. He knows.
Wait, what happened to Gilbert giving up the grand slam to Hoskins?
Hey, one pitch. It's an Edwin Diaz type appearance. One pitch got away. A Mariners defender. Now, what the hell is
Well,
this?
that stinks. All right. Well, if you
Mariners
haven't
apology.
been following the show, you know that I had a ranking video that I was supposed to make, but life got caught up. So I guess I'm going to do it on here. Give some quick notes. Currently, after April, since we're into May now, and then I guess we'll do it every month and update things like this. Now, I do have Steven Nagosic at 26. Just switch him and Jake Reed out on the honorable mentions / players on the IL. I forgot to put Cano down there as a dishonorable mention, but it's whatever. Steven Nagosic, pitch well. He's a good dude. He's liked a few of my tweets, so we're cool. Other than that, number 25, Trevor Williams. He has not gotten the results yet, but hey, soft contact guy. He has had a few good outings. He's had a few bad outings, but soft contact guy. I like him. Contact manager. And there's been a lot of good performers on this team. And we haven't really seen Trevor Williams much. You see him in 3 innings, and then he disappears for the next 5 days. So, sample size is definitely into consideration. 24, we just talked about him. Dom Smith, he has been so brutal. Outside of the 4-hit game, nothing. You've gotten absolutely nothing. Down 3 to 4 pitches. You're lucky if he gets this to 6 pitches. He's just been completely brutal. Number 23, I got to put him. I'm sorry. I'm not believing in it yet. He has... He has improved defensively. Do I think he's going to sustain it? Probably not. Just be average. At the plate, can't watch this guy.
A little bit better.
Listen. He's brutal.
Since I said he was never going to hit a home run again.
Little bit.
Better than him based on this year.
Hey, boy, by the way, Mark
That's right.
Better defender.
That's racism. I'm calling him.
Vientos just hit a 3-run home run.
Nice. Let's go.
Get ready.
Heat up, Mark. Heat up.
Ooh.
All right. 22. Smidge better defensively than James McCann.
No.
That's it. That's the
Go to
only
frame
reason they're
rates.
above each other. You can
that's
switch
the
these guys
framing.
too. You can. Hey! You get to argue it. You get to argue afterwards.
Okay.
That's the only thing. Overall defender, Tomas Nito's better. That's literally it. That's all I can say. 21, Taiwan Walker. I'm sorry. I'm not moved. He looked good today. And this was made a few days ago. Looked good today. He contact managed. He didn't throw his fastball. He didn't prioritize his fastball. He was hurting. Let's hopefully he's okay. That's what I hope. Stop throwing the fastball. Hey, Nito caught him today, and he pitched pretty well. It's like, that doesn't fucking matter. Number 20, Luis Giorme. He gets on base. He does his role. And, I love him. Great sprayer hitter. That's the guy. Luis Giorme. He's your backup shortstop. He can play a little first base, too. He's played that in the minors. But other than that, since shaving the beard, monster. 19, Joely Rodriguez. I said he was my stud of the week. But, hey, there is going to be a lot of guys who you're like, okay, these guys could be top 10. But that's how good this team has been. So, Joely Rodriguez, he has looked great since those 2 rough outings at the beginning of the season. Like I said, 8 consecutive scoreless innings. I'm glad that Buck finally realized that, hey, I can put this guy against lefties. He's looked good against righties, but I still wouldn't trust him with that because he can be very volatile to that. But It happens. 18, Travis Jankowski, another guy. You could put this guy in the top 10. He has been fantastic off the bench for them. He gets on base. Billy Epler has a type. The speed is breathtaking. It's better than Kevin Pillar and Albert Almora. I hope those guys are, Almora's with the Reds now, right? Where's Pillar?
Minor league deal with the Dodgers.
Yep, chilling.
Minor league leader with the Dodgers. Okay, all right. 17, J.D. Davis. Again, another guy you can put in the top 10. It's kind of hard to put him in the top 10, mainly because he doesn't pay. He doesn't play. Should not be platooning. He should be the everyday GH right now. He has proven that he can be. He's hitting the damn ball hard. That's what DHs do. Your Nelson Cruz, your JD Martinez. Huge exit velo, guys. Hit the damn ball hard. He can get consistent playing time, and he'll hit very well. Bring up the value in the trade deadline. 16, Seth Lugo. Again, there's a lot of good guys. Again, Seth Lugo. Curveball looks great recently. Listen, he's good. Do I think he's the elite Seth Lugo? Maybe. He's been pitching like it. I don't know. He's got the curveball back. Mom, he's got the curveball. But yeah, he's looked good. I like it. Overall, stop throwing the slider, and we're all good. 15, Adam Adovino. Now, nasty slider. He's had a few blow-ups. A little bit of batted ball luck. Won't get into that. But disgusting. And to be honest, if we're talking about stuff grades and command grades, this guy is up to a 55 command grade the last time I checked. That is a godsend. Hefner is a legend. Number 14. I don't know why that just changed. Starling Marte. Another guy you can put in the top 10. Ground balls are brutal. They are brutal, but he shows the value any way else that he can. Don't know why that just changed, and now it's really fucking bothering me. But, he's going to have those stretches where you can't get him out. He's going to have those stretches where he's ground ball over to the right side, but I love what he supplies to this team. I love the versatility, the base running, everything. He shows his value either way. Maybe to a higher standpoint as Mark Canha, just, at a more higher volume. 13, Eduardo Escobar. He slowed down. He had an 0 for 20 stretch or whatever. I think he got a hit yesterday. He's getting on base. I like that. I like he's getting on base. He's impressed me at third base, too. I think he's actually a pretty good defender than I thought he was. Do I want him as my everyday third baseman on a championship team? Miss Javi still. Number 12, Carlos Carrasco. He's looked good. He's had good outings. He had a few rough ups, but he's given him length. And that's what's really impressive, because we didn't know if this guy was going to get out of the fifth inning last year, especially with his injury history. But he's given us length. He's had a few outings where he's like 7 innings, 6 innings. Go ahead.
Who fixed Carlos Carrasco? Who told him he was tipping pitches?
I would not use that argument, because we talked about how Joey Lucchesi was tipping pitches, and what happened right afterwards. So James McCann, he may be responsible for a good outing by.
It wasn't McCann.
Hey.
It wasn't McCann.
James McCann may be responsible for it, but
it wasn't McCann that told me it was.
Who is it?
It was Escobar.
Escobar.
Yeah.
All right, sure. Whatever.
He said it from last season. He said whoever he faced last year when Carrasco was on the mound, that they all knew that he was tipping. And then the first thing he said to Carrasco in spring training this year was that he was tipping.
I don't know about that. I'll investigate that. 11, Francisco Lindor. He's dropped off recently. He's hitting the ball well, but we're not getting the results. I'm waiting for the warm weather. I'm waiting for the consistency to happen. He's still Lindor, and we love him.
No, he's not hitting the ball well.
And that's it. He is hitting the ball well. You can shove it.
The sauce.
10, Chris Bassett has the potential to be an ace. Again, like I said, I'm seeing some faces here. There's so many guys who can be in this top 10. There's so many guys who can be in so many positions because they're playing so well. Chris Bassett, I love you. You're one of my boys from Oakland. He's got grit, and he shoves. That's all he does. Number 9, Chasen Shreve, Aaron Loop, who. That's all I got to say. Aaron Loop, who. The man is nasty. He can do it all. I think he's better than Aaron Loop. That's all I got to say. 8, Pete Alonso. He has gotten hot recently. The hero ball is still in his mind. I'm seeing that a little bit. Don't overswing. Don't do this. Again, this is not recency bias. This is April as a whole. But he's getting going. If I base it off of the next 2 weeks, he'd probably be in the top 3. I'll tell you right now. Number 7, Drew Smith. Enter Drew Smith. The breakout season is here. He has not given up a single run yet. He might eventually because he's given up some hard contact. Changed his cutter into a slider, which has been a revelation. Incredible. He has been incredible and one of the stoppers. He's our 8th inning guy, especially with Trevor May out. Now, number 6, Mark Canha. The man gets on base. We saw it today. He had a home run today. It's crazy. The man's a nuisance. One of the crazy things is, we were talking about this in our group chat today. Is he a good hitter or not? He's a weird hitter. That's what he does. He tries to be as uncomfortable as the pitcher is and then take that advantage. 0-2 hole. You see a lot of 0-2 holes and everything, and he's selective. He's a zone watcher. He's an OPP pest. He just gets on base. That's what he does properly, and he plays every other aspect of the game at a very valuable standpoint. Number 5, Tyler Mcgill was tough last night. Listen, this was made before that start. If I had to say, based off of that start, he'd probably be at number 5 again. He's looked great. I'm joking. He's looked great. Listen, it happens. I mean, he just had a tough outing. It happens. But what I like is that he was very even-toned about it, even though he did look rattled. He's not going to let that define him, just like Bryce Harper said to the clubhouse after that disaster bullpen lull Phillies. 4, Jeff Mcneal. McFeeble no more. He's looked fantastic. Don't want to jinx anything. Don't want to force any soft tissue injuries on this guy, but he has looked fan-freaking-tastic. That's it. You completely shut me up, Jeff. Keep doing it. Number 3, Edwin Diaz. The top 3 reliever, of course, belongs in the top 3. Gave up a bomb to Soto. That was the first barrel of the year, but that doesn't really count. It's Juan Soto, okay? He's been fantastic. It was a fastball down the middle to Soto. The slider, unhittable. No one is making any contact, any remotely contact to this guy's slider. The confidence is there. The swag is there. He's the guy that we traded for. He looks like the guy that we traded for in 2019. And I freaking love it. He's elite. Number 2, Brandon Nemo. The best hitter on the team. Sorry, he gets on base. Currently holding a 23-game on-base streak. He's Brandon Nemo, the best hitter on the team. He is the leadoff hitter. Your best hitter leads off, right? Tim Anderson, amazing. Number 1, it's got to be Max Scherzer. The man has just been shoving. All right, listen, he's had a few rough outings, but all I can say is he is currently the best player on this team overall with Jake out. And all I can say is he's definitely been as good as advertised. I personally do think he's as good as advertised right now. And he doesn't let anything really faze him. He just keeps shoving. So, there it is. My top 26. Obviously, Jake Reed goes into 26 because he hasn't pitched yet. Steven Nagosic goes down into the honorable mentions, even though Steven Nagosic was the number 1 guy last night. But other than that, tear it apart. Give me your worst. Go.
Frank, you want to butt rip him first, or you want me to go?
No, go ahead. I want to hear what you have to say.
All right. So we're keeping the peripherals. The Mcgill start shouldn't happen because this is an April list. So throw anything that's happened in the last 2 weeks out. Oh God, where the fuck do I begin? McCann's better than Nito even in April. Chasing Shreve is not better than Lugo and Adovino. He can be in the top 15. It's not in front of those two guys. Taiwan Walker should be lower. Carrasco should be higher. I think Carrasco should be like right next to Bassett. How he's pitched. Carrasco should be like equal, like a 10, 11, or 9, whatever you want to fill out the rest. Lindor for April should be in the top 10 because that first half should have carried. That first 2 weeks should carry into April. So he should be in the top 10. Cano, if we're counting April, should be maybe in top 5. Diaz, Nemo should come out down a little bit. He's warmed up in May. He still Nemo, and he walks, once a game. Who cares? He really hasn't gotten going since end of April to May. So as much, the simple.
Are you blind? Are you blind?
No, you're blind. Drew Smith, fine, can be in the top 10. He deserves it. But Lindor and Shreve, if you're gonna that needs to be flipped. Shreve should not be higher than Lindor. Carrasco shouldn't be lower than Shreve. So Marte and Escobar together, okay. And then the back half, who really cares? Jankowski, JD. Jankowski should be higher than JD. That's all. That's the only butt rape. That's
Jankowski did more, had more results than JD did, especially in April.
They're at the same level because of the playing time. You just have seen very limited of them. I mean, you're seeing 1 of every 4 with these guys. Hopefully JD plays more. Chasing Shreve, to be honest, I think that's a little rude to put him at 9, but whatever.
I think he hasn't pitched that much, right?
He has not pitched that much, but he's friggin' elite.
He's good when he does pitch, yeah.
He is good when he does pitch. And Frank, anything you'd like to tear apart?
The only thing that kind of bugs me, I guess maybe it's the month of May bias. I feel like Bass has been the best starter consistently this season so far. I think we're just going based on results of the 1 month. I think the Bass has been really good. So I think he deserves to be a little closer maybe to the other starting pitchers. But other than that, like what I said, with April, it's so tough because we've seen the slumps. And like I said, we saw the Mcgill bad start. We saw Walker that have a good start. So it's tough to fully evaluate. But those are one that was out to me. I just feel like Bassett, I feel like people aren't talking about him enough. He's just been really good so far. So I just been I've been seeing from him. But other than that, can't complain too much. I don't know if in April Scherzer was number 1. I'm not sure. I know Scherzer's really good.
I think it's more of the thought of he's Max Scherzer, and there's not much that really changes that. You know what I mean? He's our best player.
He gives up a little bit more long balls than you would like, but
yeah,
I don't know. But I think we need to talk about this more. Wherever Billy Epler found this Jeff McNeil guy, they need to sign more of those guys because I don't know where the hell this guy came from. Good job by the Ep Dog. Great scouting to find this guy from some random Tijuana, Mexico baseball league. Great pickup for the Ep Dog.
Fantastic. Yeah.
Did we not have during the off season every single week? Andrew said you have to trade the squirrel because we have too many lineups of the same guy. He's gotta go. How many times did you say that?
Can I just talk about this? I was the one that made the video, and I've been kind of the loudest guy of getting rid of McNeal. But yet he's getting all the shit, and I've got nothing, so I love it. Thank you.
That's true. That is true. It's because you didn't tweet about it as much.
And he's been getting all this shit. I'm just I'm the guy that made the video. I'm the guy that's Bobby's but nope, Metsfan's taking all this shit. So
that's just it's rude. It really is. It's very rude.
So you play a good guy. You can play. You play both sides. You just gotta,
And no one said, you know what? Good job, Frank, for hanging in there with all those battles you had to take defending this guy. Nobody gives me any credit for that, but it's okay.
Because you think Tim Anderson's good.
The glory of this on ball play?
I mean, based on batting average, how could you say otherwise? Ex-Woba is good.
Remember who did have a huge batting average but hit a lot of ground balls? You know that guy, Whit Merrifield? He's looked great this year.
Dead balls.
He's looked fantastic. It's not a dead ball when you can't lift the fucking thing.
Yeah, a lot of guys having
So-
rough years this year. A lot of guys.
We got 20.
Oh, yeah.
You want to go to the 2-hour mark? How you want to do this? We got 12.
I think we'll end it here. I think
Oh.
we'll end it here. Yeah.
All right. Okay. Before we close out, Andrew, you said you have a video coming out soon, right? About something you've been pondering on the free agent market.
Yeah, there's a free agent video, which I've got the thumbnail made, but after today's potential, something happens that I'll get my ass, light a fire under my ass to actually upload some more content. And a second channel is coming.
Okay.
I'm kind of waiting for the Penguins to either blow this 3-1 lead or win the series tomorrow to launch it. So once this series is over, I think I'll probably start. I will tweet out the link sometime in the next couple of days. Once the Penguins either lose the 3-1, blow the 3-1, or end it tomorrow, I'll tweet it out. I'll go live stream reaction. Pretty much everything that's not Met related is going to that channel. And that channel is going to be a hell of a lot more active with just Giants, Mets, Knicks, Penguins, wrestling, gaming. That's all going there. My main channel is going to be Mets, deadlines, moves, free agency, post games, minor league. Met stuff staying there. Everything else is going to the new channel. Elite Rhino Gaming. Or Elite Rhino Sports. I'll tweet it out later. So there you go.
Okay. All right. Interesting. All right, Metsfan, do you have any second channels you want to promote? Or
You don't do shit. Say hi and
Oh,
think
whoa,
about
whoa, whoa. Next week, next Sunday,
yeah,
I
actually,
do
yeah.
have something planned. Not going to say anything about it yet, but it's going to be fun. Let's just say that. That's it.
I barely even know.
On
what
my
it is.
channel,
On
the
Metsfan,
Ghost
yeah,
Town.
The Ghost channel
Whoa.
itself.
Whoa. How about that?
Yeah.
All right.
How about that?
Shocker of the century.
As far as me, I do want to get back into some post-game stuff eventually. Hopefully sometime this week, get back on that, do a couple of those. But other than that, you know the deal. If any breaking news happens, if any ideas come to mind, then I'll do stuff. It's just tough because when the Mets are winning, I don't have rants. I don't have, we need to trade for this guy and sign that guy and do this and fire that guy. Like, Gary DeSarcina isn't here. I have nobody to blame anymore. It's such a different life right now. But anyways, thank you everybody for watching. TonyMetro had to leave. Make sure to show us some love. All stuff's down in the description. Hayden wasn't here today. Also show him some love. Again, if you're watching now, watching in the future, leave a like, comment. Make sure you're following the Mets Weekly Twitter. You join the Discord, talk some stuff in there. But other than that, thank you everybody for watching. Let's go Mets.
Go.